Hi everyone. So this year, a couple of my friends on YouTube embarked on a project to pan one of our favorite Pat Mcgrath Mothership palettes. I chose the Decadence palette. Kat, I think, chose Subliminal. Karen chose the one with the red in it. MARIAM chose my favorite one, which is a Sublime. Basically, we all chose a palette to pan, and it's been crickets since the intro. I think pretty much the only person that has been doing updates is MARIAM. She's been quite consistent, and she recently did her finale video, so I thought, you know what, I also need some closure with this project pan. I need to do a finale. Even though I've only done one update, I need to bring this to a close, because you might be wondering what's happened to this project. Has everyone just forgotten about it? It's been certainly something that has been on my mind, kind of like this little voice being like, you need to do something about this palette. So I will let you know in this video how it's been going. Let's get into it. Okay, so I will put a montage of the looks I've created. I have created a number of gorgeous looks with this palette. I think the color story in this palette is stunning. I do feel like you get a nice variety of shades, lighter shades to mid-toned to deeper. So you can go for that more sultry eye if you like. I would consider this project pan to be a fail, putting it plainly. I'm just not the most consistent project panner, and eyeshadows is definitely a really hard thing for me. I only this year panned my first eyeshadow, and it sadly was not in this palette. But yeah, this is what my palette looks like. No pans, but I would say that there are some dips in here, particularly in this shade, this smoky taupe shade, which I'm wearing on my eyes today. It's gorgeous. This burgundy one, which I think is a really gorgeous metallic burgundy, and this navy, as well as this blue shade as well. I would say these four are the ones that I've used the most. After that, probably maybe this one, and this one. And the ones I've used the least are the golds and the silver. Surprise, surprise. I'm not a big kind of yellow gold or, you know, really silvery silver, because this is a very bright silver. I'm not one of those people that wears these kind of shades on the regular. So yeah, no surprise that those ones are the ones I use the least. I mean, given how much I've used this palette, which wasn't that frequently, I will admit, maybe if I add it all up, probably 20 times, I would say that, you know, it's not realistic for me to have panned any of them if I'm only using them 20 times. I have realized that eyeshadows is one of those things. I knew going forward in this project, I knew that this project pan would be a difficult one, because like I said before, this year I've never panned an eyeshadow, so I knew it would be a challenge. So am I disappointed with this outcome? A little bit, but at the same time, knowing myself, I think it was a little bit unrealistic to think I was gonna pan this eyeshadow, just because I like to rotate my eyeshadows. Every week I go through my palette drawer and pick out a new one, pick out new colors to play with. I like changing things up. You know, even though I have pulled this palette out more than some of my others, it's not enough to have hit pan on any of the eyeshadows. The only ones that I use consistently pretty much is my Viseart Warm Mattes, where I actually have a pan in the deep shade, the deep brown shade, because I use this palette with pretty much all of my eyeshadows. But I mean, I don't think that this project pan has been without its learnings. I do feel like what I've learned from using this palette is that, you know, as much as I love these shades, I don't actually wear a metallic eyeshadow all the time. I know I'm wearing one today. I did want to actually incorporate this palette for today's look. But I actually, generally speaking, especially when I'm not filming, because I don't film all the time. In fact, I probably film once a week. I tend to go for matte looks. I love a matte eye look, and that's just me. I know there are some people that gravitate more towards metallics, but for me, I'm more of an all matte person. So when I see a palette and I see that there's more mattes over shimmers, then that makes me happy, because I do like that. I just find mattes more wearable. I know people hate that term. For example, the Sugarpill new Fun Size palette, it's an all matte palette in really bright, colorful shades, but I feel like because they're matte, they look less intense than metallics would. I definitely gravitate more towards mattes over metallics. And because this is an all metallic eyeshadow palette, it's not something that I would use by itself generally, unless I'm doing like a quick liner look, which I have done. I feel like I think I've used this shade as just a liner. I think that's fun, but generally speaking, I do like to pull in some mattes. I don't mind that because I do have, like I said, that Viseart matte palette that I keep on my desk at all times to pair with metallic palettes or palettes where I feel like I need to draw in some browns and some earthy tones, because I feel like when I do bring those tones in, it just flatters my eye makeup a bit more. And so yeah, I haven't panned it. But overall, I do still really enjoy this palette. I think it's a gorgeous palette. I'm happy to have it in my collection for sure, because I do think that there are some stunning shades. Like for me, this shade is still my favorite. And I really, again, love this smoky taupe. These two shades, absolute favorites. Beautiful, beautiful shades. And I find with my brown eyes, blues really flatter, and I love taupes as well. Like a taupe is like a more modern way to kind of smoke out your eyeshadow versus black, and so I really enjoy it for that purpose. I will also have to say, like when I am going for metallics, I kind of prefer a more sparkly metallic. Like recently, of late, I feel like I've really been enjoying really sparkly metallics over these ones, which are a bit more, I guess, monotone, like flat, one color metallics, rather than multi-dimensional metallics, which I have been really enjoying this year. And I feel like that's kind of what's been in trend, is multi-chromes and more complex shimmers, which these aren't really. I mean, they're stunning still, but they're not that complex shimmer that I've been craving recently. So that's kind of also why I've not been gravitating towards this palette. So to conclude, I would say that overall this project was not successful, but I'm okay with that. I have learned a lot from using this palette about my preferences, and I feel like project pans are always great for that. Is just about learning about your makeup consumption and learning what your preferences are, what you like, what you don't like, and that will shape what you buy in future. I will still pull out my Decadence palette and use it from time to time. It's not going to be a palette that I use all the time, but yeah, I do think it adds something special to my collection because they're stunning metallics. So yeah, I don't think in future I will be adding any eyeshadow palettes to my project pan. I feel like it's not my strength, just because of the way I use eyeshadows. I like to change it up and use lots of different eyeshadows, and I have lots of eyeshadow palettes that would be kind of, in a way, a little silly for me to exclusively use one for a whole year and neglect all these other gorgeous eyeshadows that I have. So for me, it's not something that yeah, makes sense for me. I think I'm going to be doing a project pan kind of like behind the scenes. My sister is trying to pan at least one eyeshadow from every palette, and I think I'd like to do something like that, but it's not going to be official. It's not going to be like I'm going to be documenting this. I think that if I can do that with all my eyeshadow palettes, that would be amazing, because I've been really inspired after, I've been really motivated after panning my Viseart one to pan some of the other eyeshadows that I use regularly. So yeah, hopefully this satisfied your curiosity in case you were wondering how I was going. I also need to do an update for my other project pan, so that will be coming soon. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this short, sweet video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.